Hey guys, Halson Pittman again here with Motorsport Media, and I've decided I'm going to create a 5-part series. I'm going to let you know what you need to do to get started in motorsports photography. Is that going to guarantee you that you're going to be shooting Formula One? Obviously not. This could be you want to do it as a hobby, you want to shoot track days, you want to make it to IMSA, maybe you want to make it to Formula One, but these are the things that you're going to need to do and acquire in order to get started on your journey. Why should you trust me or why should you listen to me? I have 15 plus years of experience in motorsport photography. Most of that is full-time, working professional. When I was doing it part-time, using all of my paid time off from my full-time job, almost 20 years of experience. So I definitely have some knowledge and some wisdom I can provide, but let's get started. The first thing that is going to get asked or need to be discussed is, should you get a DSLR or a mirrorless camera? At this point, I have to say, and I'll talk about this in the next part here, is I actually have both. And the reason being is I feel like one is weather sealed more than the other. But when it gets down to it, if you are purchasing one of the nicer DSLRs, or what would be referred to as a pro version, or at least a prosumer, what you're giving up is some, quickness of the autofocus, accuracy of the autofocus, and things like that. The mirrorless cameras simply just work better as long as you're not, purchasing the bottom of the barrel item from, one of the smaller camera companies. But there is no right answer. Some people still shoot DSLRs. They just don't like how the mirrorless works. Obviously, when you first pick one up, you start to shoot with it, it's going to feel different. The muscle memory's gone from your DSLR. Most of them are slightly smaller. Obviously that, there's a little bit of differences there on size, but just the overall shooting experience is different, but there's no right answer there. Again, I actually have both. So bodies, what do I shoot with? I have 2 Canon R3s. This was the supposed flagship for a little while. It no longer is. They do have the R1. I haven't jumped on that yet. I have my reservations. I was hoping it would have a few more megapixels. It's not the end of the world on that point, but this has spectacular image quality. It will shoot photos more frames per second than I need. I actually do not shoot it on its full burst or continuous plus or whatever Canon calls it on this camera. It's way too many. The RAW files are spectacular. The JPEG files are spectacular. The autofocus is dead on. I have custom shooting functions where I push one button, hold it down for focus, and it finds eyeballs. I have a car tracking, etc. This is an awesome camera. I have 2 of these. It's the backbone of my work. I do keep a backup third body that is a 1DX Mark III. This was the previous flagship until the R3 came out and now the R1. The main reason for this is it's robust. It can take a beating. It's taken a beating. The image quality is spectacular. I don't need an adapter to run my 400, which I like. It's also more weather sealed. People have been shooting these in snow and heavy rain and put no rain gear on for a long time, all the way back to the original 1DX and before that. It's simply put, it's more weather sealed. It's just how it is. So if it's pouring and it's like, hey, it is raining so much, I'm going to just get soaked myself. I'm only going to bring one camera out. It's going to be the 400 with my really nice rain gear and this camera. That's why it's my backup body. Now, with that said, what do you need or what can you use? Simply put, you just need a decent DSLR or mirrorless. I would follow that up with, you need 2, potentially 3. And that's because if one fails, let's say you are using a DSLR and the shutter fails, you're stuck. There's nothing you can do. If one camera dies, even a mirrorless can die. You're stuck. There's nothing you can do. You need to have at least 2 bodies to make this work. Potentially 3. Like I said, I carry 3 and I actually have a 4th. A little side tidbit here. I have a hard Pelican case that I load up with a complete shooting kit that's older gear that I no longer use on a daily basis when I'm at the track. It's locked up and ready to go, and my wife knows that if I text her and need that stuff, it's going to get overnighted to where I am because something's gone really bad. Maybe my equipment's got stolen, but I need the gear and I need it fast. So I actually have older stuff. It still works great. Most of the stuff you are shooting it in the daytime, so you're not going to need that high ISO performance a lot of the time, but choose which system you want, whether that's Canon or Nikon or Sony. I would pick one of those 3 and only those 3 personally. The other ones, obviously people use them, but the professional support isn't that great. Lens selection isn't that great, but choose your system, get 2 bodies. Hopefully you can get 3 bodies. And that's my suggestion. Next thing to talk about, 70-200. This is unfortunately really a non-negotiable. You need a 70-200. I would recommend you get a 70-200 2.8 and get one a first-party lens or an actual manufacturer lens. That means if you shoot Canon, get the Canon version. If you shoot Nikon, get the Nikon version, etc. Sigma and others do make 70-200s. I personally do not think that they are as good. The color is not as good. The focus is not going to be as good. They are very close. Many of them have come very, very close over the years. But the biggest thing for me is they're simply just not as weather sealed, and the support for getting them repaired should you need it is just not as good. I have the first 70-200 2.8 RF mount. Actually, this will be going up for sale soon because Canon is finally in stock with the more professional version that does not do the exterior zoom like this. I'll be making a video about that. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and subscribe. That'll be coming soon. It's shipped. It's on its way to me. I don't know exactly when it's going to get here, but this is terrible. It is what it is, but the image quality is great, but you need a 70-200. You can't get by without it. You got to pick one. If you do have to start with one of the third-party lenses, start there. And when you can, go ahead and grab one of the 70-200 f4s. I personally think those are actually better than going with one of these Sigma or Tamrons and other options, even if it's a 70-200 2.8. 70-200, it's a must-have. You have no other options. All right, once we do head out trackside though, we have a lot of options. You're going to need a telephoto or super telephoto of some kind. My personal preference, and over the years, I prefer primes. My main prime is my 400 2.8. This is a beast. It is the best option in my opinion. Obviously, there are some third-party versions of this, but again, buy the Canon, Nikon, or Sony version. You won't be disappointed. All those shots where you see car in the frame, the background completely blown out, they're using this lens for the most part. Obviously, it's expensive. I have the Mark II EF because the Mark III had some, the weight is weird. It doesn't feel great. I didn't upgrade to that. And then the RF version is just the Mark III EF with the adapter screwed on the back. So I haven't upgraded. I really like this lens. I don't have any plans to change it anytime soon. But I do also, at street circuits and as a backup, carry a Canon 300 f4. This is a great solution, and most of the camera companies do offer something similar to this. So it's a 300 millimeter, it's a fixed f4, so it's a prime, it's very sharp, very fast focusing. This is a great lens for street circuits, like Long Beach and St. Pete. That's actually I bring this with, and I normally don't use the 400 2.8. But again, if you're looking to just get started out, getting a prime like this will give you those tack sharp images and super fast focusing, as well as be able to make the fence disappear when you need to shoot through the fence. Other options though, a lot of people do the Sigma Sport lens and make a 150-600. That's a good option if it's entry level and obviously you're on a different budget, or you're a hobbyist looking to get started out. You have those. Tamron makes some of those similar to Sigma Sports. You do have some other options, but I would recommend, if you can, looking to get into some sort of prime and a super telephoto in that. You can get by in the very beginning. Another option is if you do go with a 70-200 2.8, all of them or most of them offer a teleconverter. So you could do a 1.4 teleconverter and it will give you a longer reach. Obviously, it'll multiply by 1.4 times in that case. And then if it's a 2.8, it will make it an f4 across the same range. So that could give you, a single lens, and all you're doing is popping on a teleconverter. That's another option as you just get started. The next set of lenses or lens that you're going to need is something that you're going to use to take pictures of people doing stuff at the track. Typically, this would be in the pits or their paddock space. My two preferred lenses in this case is I have the new Canon 135 Prime. Takes beautiful candids. This lens is amazing. I had the EF version before that, and I use the EF50 1.4L. These are my two recommendations if you're shooting Canon. Obviously, if you're shooting other, Nikon, Sony, etc., they have their own prime lenses, but I would recommend, even on Canon, if you're doing like the 50 1.8, the nifty 50, if you're shooting an EF body, you can get those for $100. The primes look better. People just look better when the background's blown out. You can, take your subject and it's clearly the subject of the photo. That goes a long way. So I would recommend at some point investing in really nice primes or starting at lower down. There's a 35 1.4. You don't have to buy the L version that unfortunately doesn't exist on Canon for some reason right now on the RF mount. Where is it Canon? Nobody knows. It's weird. Or go up to the 135. Sigma even makes, where I will recommend a Sigma lens, a 105, which is an amazing lens from their art line. It's just a giant, but the photo results are amazing. So these are definitely something that I would recommend looking into, getting some sort of prime, whether you start with the nifty 50 or go with the 135 or similar. That's really going to upgrade your candid game. Of course, you can use the 70-200. A lot of people are going to use that 70-200 to get started. Put it on 2.8. That does a great job blurring out the background. It's not amazing like 1.8 or a 1.2, but it will get you by in the beginning. Then we can kind of do two things at once with one lens. Obviously, that'll save when you're working with a lower budget. After that, you need some sort of mid-range zoom, whether that's the kit lens that it comes with or something similar. I prefer to do the 24 to 105 from Canon so that it actually goes into the 70 to 200 range. There is a 24 to 70 version as well. This f4 version, I feel, is overall sharper in the apertures that I'm normally using it at, as well as I do a lot of ultra wide pans with this on the track. And I've just had better results always using the f4 version, so I'm going to continue doing that. They do have an interesting new lens where normally it's the 24 to 70 2.8 and then 24 to 105 f4 that Canon has done. They now have a 24 to 105 2.8. I plan on doing a loaner from CPS. That's one of the services they offer people that are in their CPS system. As a professional, I want to test it out because that would be downright amazing. And if it is as good as people are saying, I probably would sell this and get that. But again, you need some sort of mid-range zoom so that if you're on the cold side in the pits, if you have a 70 to 200 or a 135, you're simply not going to be able to get the whole pit stop in view, and you're going to be zoomed in on a driver's head, and you can't even tell what's going on. You might not be able to tell they're getting in the car or what's happening. So mid-range zoom is definitely required. And last point on lenses, we're talking about something that's expensive like this, like the 135. Always go with lens over body upgrades. And the reason why I say that is this is going to do more for creating a spectacular image than getting the latest and greatest body. Lens is, simply put, just more important. So if you're looking at, I have $3,000 to spend, should I get a $1,000 lens and a $2,000 body, or get the $3,000 body and continue using my kit lens? Get a $2,000 lens and save the $1,000 till you can get the $2,000 body. That's my recommendation. It's just simply put, the lens is more important. So save up for the lenses. If it takes you an extra 6 months, a year, or 2 years, and you can get into a 400 2.8, the weight's going to be worth it. It's just how it is. The lenses are just far more important. Like I said, I'm still on the R3s. They're technically not the flagship anymore. The R1, I'm sure it's nice. I just shot a Daytona and Larry Chen has a couple of them. I think he might have 3 of them now, and he was raving about them. But I'm looking at my R3 photos and going, this thing's still really nice. It is a few years old, but it looks great with the 400 2.8. So when it comes down to it, save your pennies, save your dollars, go for the lenses over the body upgrades.